Now I'm going to use this dialogue as an example. Um, I'm not putting down this person overall. I mean, I'm offending. Well, I'm putting down the behavior. I'm not putting down the person. We all make our mistakes and whatnot. So, because I'm using this person's words, and I'm going to be talking uh, about their words in an unflattering way, it doesn't mean that I believe they are a bad person, but I believe that their thought process is, well, their thought process during this period of dialogue was faulty and not constructive. And I also wanted to show you this because, and this is what I really want you to, what I what I really want you to think about. This dialogue, this type of dialogue, the tone of this dialogue represents, in my opinion, about 80% of how people have responded to me in the last 3 years. I'll say that again. Like 80% of people communicate in this way. And I'm going to read this person's words. Your system is what made, it's not important what the video was about. Let's just say it was an unpleasant video for most people to watch. Well, that's all I guess you need to consider. But anyway, that's not even worth considering. But just listen to how this person is. Well, listen to this person's words. Your system is what made. I made a comment, and this person is responding to my comment. Your system is what made these kids also the parents that had these kids, as every black person would know. You can't put a intelligent, coherent statement and still be ignorant as F. And he spells out Fuck. Um, I didn't really know what he was trying to express. Well, I knew the first half. I kind of knew the first half of what this person was expressing, but the problem with the first half is that I acknowledged in my comment that the system has something to do with it. My comment was related to uh, accountability for the perpetrators of this crime that was committed, as well as the parents of the people that committed the crimes, on top of the system. We can't do much about the system as much. But anyway, see, I don't want to go too deep into it because that's not the main reason why I want you to listen to this. This may seem like a small thing, but it's not a small thing. I'm telling you, 80% of the dialogues I've gotten into, at least 80% of the dialogues I get into on the internet with people go like this. So let me just get through it. So, as you can see, I respond. Um, we may not be able to see, but I respond. I don't understand the last half of what you're trying to express. Can you rephrase? Notice I didn't name call and I didn't assume what I thought they were trying to express. I just asked them, can you rephrase? I'm truly trying to understand what it is they're trying to express. So, and to clarify it, I ask them, I send another message. What did I say that you disagree with? That makes it a lot more clear. What did I say that you disagree with? Since you're responding to my comment, assuming they disagreed with something. And they respond, sorry, can't articulate properly. The U.S. has the highest population of poor prisoners on the planet, but if you have money, you can get away with a S load, that's a SHIT load more. Systemic oppression and racist policies made generations of hopelessness for so many of these young men and women. Have a good look at the rest of the Western world, and maybe you might be more sympathetic towards some of the people stuck in the U.S. correction system, as it clearly serves no purpose to impoverished black people but to make them more violent and hopeless while maximizing profit. It's supposed profit with a E and not an I, but it's fine. And shout to the poor women abused and violated and forced to do things they don't always want by an increasingly violent population of young hopeless men who easily dominate them. So the whole breeding part isn't so straightforward. The breeding, I made a reference to uh, purposeful breeding, and they made a statement. I believe that's why they made that last statement, but I didn't understand what they meant by straightforward. I didn't understand that. So um, I leave this person a message since I didn't understand. Since I'm still very unclear if this person has an issue with me, and if they do, what about? So I leave a message. If you believe I have said something wrong or invalid, I am open to hear your opinion and constructively dialogue. So I will ask again. What did I say that you disagree with? So his response was, it's horrible what we witnessed. This kind of behavior should never be allowed in the world's richest nation. Then he sends another message. Where are you from? Maybe knowing each other's background, we could have a serious conversation. So I respond, for the third, and my words are here. My words are, for the third and last time, what did I say that you disagree with? And this person hasn't responded. It's been a day. Over a day, maybe. So that's I'm telling you, 80% of the dialogues I have had with most human beings on YouTube pretty much go this way. They usually, when I make a post or a comment, I'm trying to be, well, the point of me making this video, what's so important that I want people to not miss, is that it doesn't matter if they're left, if they're right, if they're black, if they're white, if they're of a particular religion. If I'm saying something and it goes against the popular beliefs of their group, the dialogue 80% of the time, in my opinion, goes similar to that. And that's if they decide to even engage in a dialogue. Usually, if I construct uh, an argument or leave a comment that I guess is a really good comment, but it goes against popular beliefs, I get no response. No response. I don't say usually, I'll say too many times for me, I'll get no response. But if I do get a response, it'll be a response just like we've seen here. And I'll say the same thing, because I pretty much narrowed it down. Well, I narrowed down the questions. I learned to kind of narrow down the questions to get straight to the point. Since you're responding to my comment, I asked them, what is it that you disagree with? Do you disagree with anything I said? If so, what do you disagree with? And 50% of the time, um, they either don't respond, or I'm guessing, but about 50% of the time they either don't respond or admit they don't necessarily disagree with anything. Or they have dialogues they engage me in dialogues like this person engaged. Or it's like you're not listening. I'm trying to anyway. Again, this is not small. This is what I want all of you to realize, that and I'm not above this to some degree. There are topics I know that, or I believe, and I expect at certain times, maybe I'm not going to, maybe it might be so sensitive that I will not be able to hear properly because I want things to be my way. But I must tell you, that doesn't seem to be too often to me. I can't even remember really the last time I felt that way. Not saying I don't feel that way, but I just don't remember it. I usually prepare myself to feel awkwardness and pain when I engage in certain dialogues, because I want to grow and I value growth over my personal individual feelings. I value I value the overall truth, or the ultimate truth of a situation, more than my personal feelings. I'll say it again. I'm going somewhere with this, and I don't want you. This may seem like a small thing. It's major to me. It's major because when I see that most human beings, 80% of the population, seems to communicate this way. At least 80% of the population, when a when a when their belief systems, when the belief systems of their group are challenged, or when their own individual beliefs that they've been holding on to or for a while are challenged, they don't they they don't know how to. It's like they're unwilling and unable. I won't say unable. They're unwilling to see the truth. I mean, they're unwilling to feel that pain and that discomfort in order to hold on to their beliefs. I mean, let me rephrase that. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. They are so they are so guarded. They are so invested in their personal beliefs that they lock themselves out of ultimate truth. They're so invested in personal truth that they lock themselves out of absolute truth. They exclude the possibility of tapping into absolute truth because they're holding on to their personal truth, their feelings. They're so wrapped up in their personal feelings that they can't hear what you're saying. Even if it could save their life. It could cause them to your words, or if they understood what you were saying, it could save them pain. It could save them. I mean, it could save them just like. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't find the words. I think you know where I'm going, though. They are missing the benefits. They are missing. They are missing the word. They are missing the the profit and the benefit of truth because of their feelings. I'm going somewhere strong with this. I'll give a short story. I was on a bus one day, and I was talking to the bus driver, and the bus driver told me that he expected to get his leg amputated. I felt like, okay, well, based on my knowledge of the body and whatnot, I felt like um, I didn't want to just accept that he had to get his leg amputated. So I started asking him questions about his diet and whatnot, and I started to, I guess, give him my advice as far as what he might want to look into before he gets his leg amputated, because he was able to walk. So I'm thinking, that may not be. You might not have to do that. So I go into telling this man as nicely as I could. Uh, some other options, or like maybe like he ought to look into just I just threw some things out there for him to consider, maybe looking into or doing before he just gets his leg cut off. And do you know that this man, he couldn't hear me? And I, based on my experiences talking to a lot of people, or a decent amount of people, especially older people, a lot of times older people will kind of block you out if you're younger than them and you're saying some things that uh like it's like older people can sometimes get defensive and feel maybe on some level like maybe you think that you're smarter than them, or you think that you're better than them as an individual, or because you're telling them what to do. Like, why is this young whippersnapper telling me what to do? They get that energy. And I understand it. I felt that way younger when younger uh, people sometimes have tried to tell me things, but let me tell you, uh, I don't think I'd be that way if somebody's trying to save my leg or give me an option besides cutting off my leg. So let me go. Uh, so think about that. This person was so deep in his own feelings, he couldn't listen to somebody trying to give him other options to keep him from getting his leg cut off. So let me read something real quick. That's related to this. Jesus said unto them, If God were your Father, ye would love me, for I proceeded forth and came from God. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. Why do ye not understand my speech, even because ye cannot hear my word? Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And because I tell you the truth, ye believe me not. Which of you convinceth me of sin? And if I say the truth, why do ye not believe me? He that is of God heareth God's words. Ye therefore hear them not, because ye are not of God. Now, what that means to me, how I interpret that, there's a practical way, a practical, down-to-earth way of interpreting this. You don't have to be a Christian. You don't have to even believe Jesus was real in order to get some benefit from this. The reason why I felt the need to read this is because it gives an example of how, for the most part, people are so stuck in their own belief systems that they can't hear you. It's an example of it. I personally believe uh, this may have been a real dialogue, because it seems like, anyway. This is from John, I believe maybe chapter 8, if I'm not mistaken, like verse. Anyway, but my point is, most people, in my opinion, maybe 80% of the population, it's like when they're unable to hear you because what they're really serving, what they're really living for, is personal truth. I mean, let me rephrase that. They're living for satisfying their appetites. And that's it. Satisfying their appetites. Whatever those appetites are. They're not really interested. Most of the population is not really interested in the absolute truth. If you were interested in the absolute truth, Muslims would be able to have constructive dialogue with Christians. Christians would be able to have constructive dialogue with Muslims and atheists and whoever else. That's why I've been able to sit and talk with people of these different backgrounds, because there were times when, even though we were of different backgrounds, we were interested in absolute truth, and we were willing to, even though we held on to our beliefs, we valued the absolute truth more. And you would be surprised the people that I mean, it is amazing. In this day and age, the odds, sadly, it seems like the odds of being able to communicate in the way that I was able to communicate face to face with people is like that. That's going to be kind of rare, I think, maybe nowadays, or it may not be as likely, or it may not be as likely to be able to do this, um, for a couple of reasons. Everybody's got masks on their face, and socially we're much more divided. But I've been able to communicate at times with practically any group. Well, I mean, my point is, there are times when we are able to communicate. We are able to communicate and learn from one another if we really want to. But the sad thing is, in my opinion, 80% of the population doesn't really seem willing to step outside of their comfort zone or step outside of their belief system enough to factor in whether or not somebody else's belief system might be beneficial or might have some truth to it. And because of this, we will fight and war with one another. We will kill one another. We will take each other's lives because we are unwilling to even listen to another point of view, to even take the risk. It's like we are so unwilling to feel the potential discomfort of being wrong or our belief systems being threatened, that we will shut each other off in communication, which will ultimately just lead to this. It leads to us killing each other. If you can't talk to one another and you have opposing views, eventually you end up killing each other. This is why I'm saying this. This is why I was saying this is not a small thing. That dialogue I had with that person is not a small, as that unconstructive dialogue I had with that person was not a small thing. In the scheme of, you could say it's a small thing, but it's not a small thing. When most people are capable of doing this and do it. Atheists should be able to have a constructive dialogue with Christians and vice versa. People of opposite races or different races should be able to have a constructive dialogue. And here's the thing, and I have to say it because it's true. There might be, maybe we have to, maybe maybe the dialogues go nowhere. Sometimes, people just say, I guess people just have to kill one another. But how foolish and and irresponsible and in my opinion evil. How evil is it to not even try to have a constructive dialogue? That to me personally is evil. To just assume that the other person is unable to just go off your own assumptions enough to where you're just like, you know what, I don't need to, like, I mean, I don't need to talk to this people. I don't need to talk to this person or these people. I just need to take their life. How irresponsible is that? How evil is that to not even to in this day and age where we know we have so many different views, so many different viewpoints, and so many different mistakes we can make that we are unwilling to communicate. And I'm telling you, this is, I believe, at least 80% of the population, at least based on me communicating with people on YouTube and out in the street. I feel like 80% of the population finds it very difficult to go against, to be to challenge their belief systems. So we need to spiritually prepare, psychologically prepare for destruction of mankind or destruction of your region, because it seems like this is the nature of human beings overall. We can try. I'm not saying not to try to change other people, but first try changing yourself. Make sure that you're right. Make sure that you're not communicating like this person was a little while ago, or a day or so ago. Make sure you're not one of these people. Make sure you're being constructive in your communication. Because once people start attacking one another, taking each other's lives, that can go on for who knows how many years, and nobody feels like they want anything really, and all because you're unable or unwilling to just listen, to sincerely try to understand what the other person believes. And if they're wrong, try to correct them, or try to instruct them effectively. Try to lead them in the right direction. Why not try?